Hello, people of YouTube and the surrounding areas. I owe you all a bit of an apology. For a little while now, I haven't been uploading as many videos, and the main reason for that is because, well, I've had a very hectic and stressful few months. First off, I've been rehearsing for shows. There was Time Masons at the Bear Pit, which was a lot of fun, and then there was also the Fright Nights at Kenilworth Castle, which, again, were a lot of fun. And sure, sometimes they were stressful, but, you know, every show is stressful. But the main thing that's been driving me insane these last few months has been buying a new car. And I know that there's going to be a lot of you that are going to be saying, yeah, but Tom, buying a new car is always stressful. And, you know, yeah, I get that. But this was the kind of stress that, let's say, no one should ever have to deal with. Let's just start from the very beginning. So, just after my 21st birthday on the 6th of August, my family and I decided that it was time for me to get a new car because at the time I only had a Ford Ka, and, you know, as I'm 6'1" or something like that, I've outgrown it a bit. So, we started looking, and it was then that I decided that I wanted an automatic car because, well, I'm lazy. After a bit of searching, my granddad found a used Nissan Note at a garage called Eden Vauxhall in Stratford-upon-Avon. The car, it seemed perfect. It was within my price range, it had a low mileage, and it was automatic. Just as a little bit of a side note before I carry on, even though I now hate Eden Vauxhall with a passion, I will not be using the real names of the people that we dealt with. Okay? Cool. Anyway, we went to have a look at this Nissan, and it was then that we got introduced to, let's call him Dick.
What?
Dick showed us around the vehicle, and it all seemed pretty good. It had a full service and MOT history, and there were a few marks on the side of it, but he assured us that they would get those off pretty easily. So we went inside and we talked about some things like how much it would be to tax and how much a spare wheel would be, because at the time there wasn't actually one in there, etc. At the time, everything seemed to be ticking all the right boxes, so we agreed that we would book the car in for a test drive and to also let my parents and my girlfriend have a look at it to see what they thought. We left a deposit so that no one could go and buy the car in the meantime, and it was left at that. Now, fast forward to the 11th of August, when it was time to go out for the test drive. Myself, my dad, Emma and Dick all went out in the car to see what it was like, and, well, I really liked it. So, when we came back, we asked a few more questions that we'd forgot to ask before, and again, everything seemed to be ticking all the right boxes, so it was then that I decided that I would take the car. It was left that we would give them about a week to get all the right paperwork delivered to them, because they explained before that because the car came from the Isle of Man, it would take a while for the paperwork to arrive. Now, why they didn't get the paperwork ordered in the first place when they first got the car, I don't know. And this is where things started to go tits up. So, a week had passed and they hadn't contacted us to say that the paperwork had arrived. So we rang them up and lo and behold, they told us that it still hadn't arrived and that we'd have to wait for another week. Great. Anyway, while all this was going on, we had decided to sell the Ford Ka to Emma's dad because, well, Emma's learning to drive at the moment and we thought it would be a good idea for her to have a car to drive in between lessons. So, naturally, we wanted her to have the Ka as soon as possible, so I really needed this Nissan. Eventually, it got to the 31st of August, so we decided that we would go in to see what was going on. And it was then that I got offered courtesy car number 1. This car was a Ford Focus, and my God, I am not even joking when I say that this was the worst car I had ever driven. The clutch was clunky, the aircon wasn't working properly, it was dirty. In fact, we even found a sweet in the back of the car. The same day we picked the Focus up, Dick told us that whilst we were waiting for the paperwork, we would have to pay for the Nissan there and then. And obviously we didn't want to do this, but he told us that there was no other way around it, so, I had to agree. I had the Focus for about a week until we had to take it back because they had a cheaper car that they wanted to swap it with. This car was a Vauxhall Corsa, or as Dick called it, a lovely Corsa. The clutch was less clunky, it was really easy to drive. Yeah, it was still dirty, but it wasn't as bad as the Focus. I'd had the Corsa for about a week, and it was at this point that my grandparents thought enough was enough, and they decided that they would go in and speak with the manager, because at this point we had supposedly been waiting for the paperwork for the Nissan for a month. They spoke to the manager, who we'll call Pinocchio. You'll understand why in a minute. He told them that Dick had been telling us a whole load of lies. He hadn't sent off for the paperwork, we were meant to pay for the car on the day that we picked it up, and we were meant to be given the opportunity to look around the car again before paying for it. Obviously, this made us all very angry, but Pinocchio assured my grandparents that from now on, he would be dealing with it. Now, let me explain why I'm calling him Pinocchio. Because he is a big, fat liar. It wasn't handed over to him at all. He just told Dick to get a move on, which, to be fair, he did. Eventually, the paperwork arrived, and on the 18th of September, we went and picked up the Nissan Note. The only thing that was missing was the spare wheel, but Dick assured us that it was on order, and he even gave it to us in writing. I drove off in the Nissan and I got it home, and all was well. Or so I thought. A couple of days later, my dad got the car out of the garage, only to discover that there was a massive pool of oil on the floor underneath it. So we called the breakdown service and the guy came out, only to tell us that they had put the wrong oil filter on the car. We called up Eden and they weren't willing to come out to collect the car because we didn't have the right cover. Blah, 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 blah. So the breakdown guy topped the car up with just enough oil so that we could get the car over to Eden. When we got there, we dealt with a guy who I'm gonna call Derp. Hello! We explained the situation, and it was then that I got given courtesy car number 3, which was a Vauxhall Viva, which, to be honest, it was just as bad as the Focus. But I wasn't too bothered because I was only going to have it for a day. Or so I thought. The next day came around and Emma and I decided that we would go in to see if the Nissan was ready to be picked up. And lo and behold, it wasn't. Derp explained to us that the right oil filter was on order and it was coming from a garage in Warwick and it was going to take a day to arrive. And by the way, Warwick is only about 10 minutes down the road from Stratford. Anyway, Derp told us that the latest we could pick the car up the next day was 6 o'clock, which I knew for a fact was a load of rubbish. The next day was going to be a Tuesday, and if you Google the opening times for Eden Garage in Stratford-upon-Avon, you will see that on a Tuesday it shuts at 9. Anyway, the next day came around, I rushed from work to pick up the Nissan, and all was well. But it doesn't stop there. We thought it would be a good idea to take the Nissan to our mechanic who we've been using for years, mainly to fit my dash cam into it, but to also get him to have a little look around the car. The car hadn't even been with him for half an hour, and he rung me up and he told me that there was evidence that it had been in an accident. My grandparents and I went to have a look and he was right. The evidence was literally everywhere. Paintwork had been done all around the car, and you could even see where some masking tape had been ripped off. Not only that, but the engine was extremely loud, louder than it should have been. But before, I just shrugged it off because I'd read some reviews of Nissan Notes online and all of them said that the engine was loud. But according to the mechanic, it was way too loud and something was very clearly wrong with it. My grandparents and I went back to Eden Garage, told the manager we wanted a refund, he agreed and he said he would be back in touch within a couple of days. Did that happen? Hell no! So my mum managed to find the phone number for the head office of Eden Garage. She explained the whole situation to a guy over the phone, and he decided that he would arrange for us to go and have a meeting with him. A few days later, we went to have the meeting with... let's call him Bumwipe.
Hello.
After a long conversation and a load of complete and utter bullcrap, including him telling us that MOT certificates are no longer a thing. Yeah, just let that sink in. He said that he couldn't give us a refund unless there was something mechanically wrong with the car, but you know, it would have helped if he actually looked around it and saw the evidence himself, wouldn't it? Anyway, he told us to give him 48 hours to see if he could find a suitable replacement, and if he couldn't, then he would proceed with the refund process. 48 hours went by, and guess what? He didn't contact me! I sent him an email and he said that if I sent him my bank details, then the money would be back in my account within the next few days. A few days later, we were on holiday in Weymouth, and it was the day that we were told the money would be back in my account. So we went to look, and lo and behold, the money wasn't there. I contacted him again. He explained that it took them longer to do the refund process than they expected, and he told me that the money would be back in my account the next day. The next day came by, I checked my account, and, well, a miracle happened. The money was in my account! We rang him up, we thanked him, we took the car back a few days later, and we never had to deal with Eden Garage again. You might be wondering, but Tom, have you got a car now? Well, yes, I have. Whilst the whole refund process was going on, we ended up at a Hyundai garage in Banbury. We explained the whole situation to the people there, and they were so kind and so supportive, and they gave us all the help that they could. We were introduced to a guy called Mark, and he asked me if I wanted an automatic or if I needed an automatic. I said that it was just a preference but not a need, and he explained to me that it would be easier to find a manual that was in my price range. So he started looking up for some manuals. A couple of weeks passed and we went to have a look at a car that was in the right price range. It had a low mileage, it was big enough, and as an added bonus, it was red! Which, if you all know me, my favourite colour is red, so amazing. I went for a test drive, I really liked the car, and I agreed that I was going to buy it. Once we had transferred the money over to pay for the car, when we had got back from Weymouth, we went and picked it up, and that, finally, is where the story ends. So, here it is, the red Kia Venga. And look, ready, look, for God's sake, look, ready, look. So we have finally reached the end of this video. Honestly, if you've watched the whole thing, thank you so much. Again, I apologise that my channel has been really silent for the last few months, but hopefully now that this ordeal is all over, I'll be able to make some more content. So, all that's left for me to say is thank you for watching, and I will see you in a future video. Goodbye, people! Hey, Emma, so, you know how much I love you, right?
Oh, God.
So, I thought it would be a good idea for you, as your first car, to have an automatic.
Right.
I heard tell of this this car dealership. this car dealership. Do you want to take the camera?
Yeah.
This car dealership called Eden.
Right.
Okay. Now, good type of reliable car is a Nissan. Yeah, Nissan Notes are quite reliable, from what I've heard. So I found one on here at Stratford upon Avon, and it's grey. It's done 25,000 miles, and the price £8,490.
You're fucking kidding me!
Let's have a click on it, shall we? I haven't actually looked at this. My grandparents told me. And another thing, right? Did you notice? This is anyone that knows how cars work. Okay, you will know that if it's got a 64 or a 14 number plate, you will know that the year it was made, that's the year it was made, that's 2014, right?
Yeah.
Look.
2018.
Anyone that knows cars, they would see this and they would go, okay, why does that say 2018 when that is a 2014 number plate? Riddle me that! That is the exact same Nissan. Exact same one.
Oh.
Up for sale yet again.
And for more expensive.
And nearly £1,000 more than what I paid. So, if you go on Eden's website and this car is still up for sale, don't get it! Just don't bother! Just don't go to Eden Vauxhall in Stratford upon Avon because you'll regret it. You'll regret it. Rip in peace, Nissan Note. 2014 Reg. 2014 Eden. 2014. You freaking. For a little while now, I haven't been uploading as many videos, and the main reason for that is the puff neff. First off, puff. Good start. And I don't know that. Dick showed us around the vehicle, and at the time, everything to be and then so a week had passed, and Emma's learning to drive at the moment, and we thought it would be a good idea to for her to have a car to drive in between lessons. I'd had the Corsa for about a week, and we weren't meant to pay for the car until the day we picked it up, and something else. I can't remember what it is. He hadn't sent off for the paperwork, and we were meant to... Susan! Yes! You will see that it closes at 9 o'clock on a Sunday? What? Before I just shrugged it off because I read some I'm Sean Connery, James Bond. Oh ho ho ho, I just bought a Nissan Note. Oh ho ho ho. Hello, Mother. Hello. I'm making a video. I contacted him again. He explained that he said it would be easier to find a manual within our price range. We went to look at a car that was within the right price range. It was blah blah blah. Numero 1 done. Hand. Specifically, they told me that what? How the bloody hell do you control this website? I don't get it.